Hello everybody, welcome to round one. Right now we're looking for an opponent. It appears that we have found one. Just wait for them to join. Oh no, opponent. Our opponent doesn't want to play with us. That's no good. Oh, at the last moment. Alright, yes, we will play first. Alright, this hand really doesn't do much. There's a lot of land, but we don't really make any plays in the first few turns. I'm liable to mulligan this, I think. This hand is much, much better. We have the classic turn 1 therapy into turn 2 veteran explorer, and it's not quite good enough to cast the Chandra, but we're going to be doing some very powerful things this game. We're going to keep this. If our top card, we don't have a fetch, so if the top card is good and we can keep that, I'm hoping for something like a Phyrexian Tower. Phyrexian Tower would allow us to cast this Chandra. That is an example of why we wanted the two mountains. I am going to go ahead and bottom this. I think that we're going to be okay. Let's take this upkeep stop off. Alright, there's a little bit of danger of something like a Wasteland here. So if they like force my therapy and then Wasteland, losing the Bayou does hurt a little bit. However, because we do have the Veteran Explorer, and if they waste a force on this, then the vet is much more likely to resolve. Alright, so they don't have anything. We don't know what they're doing. So the classic Cabal Therapy move. Alright. So we're up against Oozing. Let's see if we're dead. Okay, so they have Double Therapy, Exhume, Gataxian Probe, Gristlebrand, Necrotic Ooze. Alright, well, they can... It all depends on that probe. Because they can Cabal Therapy themselves. Yeah, they're like a Dark Ritual shy of probably killing us. How awkward. Because I imagine they could do something like... Depending on what they could reanimate Gristlebrand and then sack their Gristlebrand after drawing some cards to the therapy to get the Necrotic Ooze into their graveyard and then maybe reanimate it or something. I don't know. We're gonna find out next turn. On the other hand, they might probe therapy us to see if the coast is clear, and they probably take our vets. So unsurprisingly, they're going to probe us. I'm kind of thinking if we do get to keep our veteran explorer, then I suppose the line would be to take their Cabal therapies, because then they don't have a way to get stuff into the yard as easily, but it's not good. And I fully expect them to therapy us, or therapy somebody, on this first turn. And they're not going to play their Polluted Delta. How fascinating. Alright. Well, we don't need the mana from this Wooded Foothills right now, so I think... think we do need to take... This is very strange, but I think we need to take their Cabal therapies. Alright, so here... We're not really expecting them to wasteland us. I'm going to get Mountain Swamp. And we have this Wooded Foothills to get our other red sources. We're not casting the Chandra this turn. Okay, so they didn't draw Brainstorm. So we're just going to kind of think about this for a moment. So the cards we know are the 6 we have in the revealed zone there, plus some unknown. And the Cabal therapies... Oh! They discarded the hand size. I figured it out. Okay, then that means we need to take... That's gross. That means we need to take Exhume. Okay. Alright, and so they're going to have 4 mana, which means they can just cast the Necrotic Ooze. That's gross. Okay. So that was a no-win, because they can either cast the Necrotic Ooze or they can cast the Exhume. We're just going to F6. They have to... And I think they should be able to kill us. What are they doing? They have a land drop still. Okay, sure. I gotta imagine they named Chandra? Probably? Yeah. Okay, so they drew another Dark Ritual for the turn. That helps them a lot. Because now they can therapy themselves, and they can get the Triskelion into the graveyard. Interesting. Well, I guess if they fizzle, yeah, that's good. Yeah, if they fizzle, then the Register Alpha just kills them, or it kills them pretty quickly anyway. All right, so what do we need to? What do we want to draw here? Well, that was probably not the card. I mean, I don't know if we have time for it, but it's probably Carnage Tyrant. Although we're coming, if we have time, we might be able to get Deed to get us out of this. Oh, okay. Either Edict or Fatal Push will work, but that means that we're going to need to not crack this Verdant Catacombs. Alright, we're going to get this Badlands, because if we get an Eternal Witness, we can get back the Chandra. Although at this point, getting back to Regisaur is probably better. So all we know they have at this point is the Triskelion. They're going to attack us for 4. Pay mana for probe. Life total is a precious thing. I've got to imagine at some point here they're going to go. They're going to want to go for trying to set up the kill. All right, so this turn, I'm going to guess they discard one of the halves of their combo, the Triskelion. Okay. Okay, and this should get the Phyrexian Devourer, which will then let them get some counters. So as soon as they get 15, and just make sure we know they have a sort of a Tin Fins-like plan. Yeah. Okay. So this is a little bit of a rough way to enter. Okay, so that's gone. Those are actually going to be pretty bad. This is good. This is good. This is good. Thoughtseize is good. Interestingly, part of me doesn't want to give them mana, but part of me doesn't care. Necrotic Ooze is a 4/3, so Pyroclasm is not interesting. Pulse of Marauders is good. Reclamation Sage is not great. Abrupt Decay is similarly not great. Fatal Push can kill the ooze, so I think we want to keep that. Marin is probably not where we want to be. It's a little slow. And if we can disrupt them, just about anything is going to kill them. So I kind of want to take out Tireless Tracker. This could be wrong. You know what? We can do a little hedge. You know, same reason. That's slow. Let's actually do. We're taking out the Culligan's Command, so I feel fine taking out an Eternal Witness. We're gonna leave the trackers in. Leave the second tracker in over in Nissa. Nissa's a bit slow. Deed, if I can ramp my mana out, Deed can get rid of the ooze. It's not great. I'm going to shave a Deed for a Pyroblast. Alright, let's see how this goes. Opponent's taken all the sideboarding time. Alright, well, we'll play first again. Okay, so we've got a Thoughtseize. Our mana base should not be under threat. So I will. This hand is very risky. We will either have time or we really won't. Um, I think on the strength of this Thoughtseize, I'm going to keep this. We're going to get Bayou, because again, our mana is not under threat, so we can kind of get our duels with impunity. Okay. So they don't have a ton of mana in this hand. We are going to take the Entomb. If we draw Cabal Therapy, it's going to be very good. Let's see what they do. Our best draw is probably going to be a fetch. And that fetch we are going to hold, or we'll play it, but we're going to hold up cracking it for that fatal push. So kind of my plan, if we draw a fetch land, is to play fetch land, Veteran Explorer, and then just wait. Because, well, I guess that's all we can really do. Opponent busy scribbling down our hand. Alright, they draw something. They play a Polluted Delta. This kind of feels like a Ponder. Smells like a Ponder, yep. So the biggest thing to target here with our discard, to start out, we want our discard targeting kind of firstly Entomb, secondly the Shallow Graves. Because if they don't currently have a way to get something into the graveyard, we want to kind of get rid of those options first. Then we can worry about things to get stuff out of the graveyard, because they have a lot of those, usually. Shallow Graves. I didn't see... Oh, they had Exhume. Goryo's Vengeance wouldn't really make sense here, since most of the time they don't actually put the Gristlebrand into play. Alright, we do have to make sure, we do have to be aware that they know about our Pulse and our Fatal Push. Okay, well that's awkward. We don't run a Dryad Arbor, so that Green Sun Zenith is doing 0. Also, this Fatal Push without Revolt is not doing us any good. So at this point, if they're not able to find something to get into their graveyard, we kind of really need a Phyrexian Tower or a Cabal Therapy so that we can Green Sun Zenith for a Deathrite Shaman. Okay, that's a start. At this point, alright, well, we definitely play the land. We really need to be able to cast this Pulse. But I think we have to... Well, here's an argument for... We want to be able to keep Fatal Push up, and if we don't crack the fetch, then we have more. Then that's one more land in our deck we can draw. And this still makes any color we want until we crack it, in which case it makes 2. Alright, so he's not attacking us with anything, so we're not Shallow Graving for an attack. Okay, they're brainstorming. I'm guessing they're looking for a fetch. Probably want to shuffle away one of these Shallow Graves, since they don't generally need to reanimate multiple things. Okay. Good on them, they found that. So the plan basically remains the same. We do want to get a second Bayou here. And the reason for that is if we're not able to crack the Veteran Explorer and we get to 3 mana and we find a Lost Legacy, then we need to be able to play a double black spell. So I'm not really feeling like Badlands because this Regisaur Alpha is kind of a ways off. But though an argument could be made. I think just having the maximum options for Deathrite, if we have time to get one of those, is the way to go. And if we draw a land, that is likely our plan. Although I could see the Pulse, holding the Pulse up also being a good option. Okay. New plan. Attack with Veteran Explorer. It's a clock. Alright, so now we're going to Thoughtseize them. We still have our Revolt Fatal Push available. Oh, he's on a Mentor plan post-sideboard. And actually has a Swords to Plowshares. Well, isn't that interesting? I kind of don't care about that Swords to Plowshares. And right now I kind of don't care about that Monastery Mentor. I think we're still on the, we just want to take his combo enablers. Yeah. Unfortunately, if he goes for the Mentor, he is going to get a Monk out of it. And right now I'm trying to decide, because we've got the Pulse, I think, oh, he had the Gitaxian Row, we knew about that too. Well, he's only going to get 1 Monk out of this Mentor, because we're gonna blow it up right now. Since we have the K commands taken out, I don't really need to ever respond to the prowess triggers. I don't think it matters. Okay, so we know his hand is Swords to Plowshares, Lotus Petal, Shallow Grave, and 2 unknowns. 1 draw for the turn, plus whatever he drew off the probe. There's that Lost Legacy. Let's see if we can convince our opponent to give us a land. We cannot convince our opponent. Alright, well, then let's do the following. So we could force them more or less to use their Swords to Plowshares, because getting a Deathrite Shaman is going to be sort of KOS for them. So I think what I want to do is just get another vet. I know they've got lands, but they don't have a ton of usage for them at the moment. And I really need to get this Lost Legacy or this Pulse online. Sure. Oh, he casted a Monastery Mentor. So he still has Shallow Grave. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, this isn't so bad. And this is why we... It's not exactly why we kept it a Pernicious Deed, but... We still have the Deluge, right? Yeah, we still have our Deluge. We have all of our mono black cards in right now. Okay. That's something we're going to hold on to. Really need to find some lands, so... I think the best thing to do is, since we have the Surgical, we're just going to kind of hold the fort here. Protect our own life total a little bit. We even have sort of a weird line out to an Emrakul Annihilator where we can float some mana. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I don't know if I care. With this pulse, we're gonna have some. Yeah. Like, we're not dead to this. I mean, we really need to find a Toxic Deluge or a Deed after this. Sure. Imagine we're gonna swords one of these. Oh, they're just going to town. So I think the line that we're approaching here. I think the line we're approaching is about to be pulse for a land. Yep. There's not much we can do about that. Oh, actually, that's enough. Oh, that's fascinating. They actually cast enough spells to... Alright, well, letting that Shallow Grave resolve was a mistake. I underestimated how many spells they'd have to cast. Alright, well, we've hesitated too long. Alright, cool. Good job, opponent. So, that one... That's a loss. Okay. I'll see you all for round number 2.